Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Forsyth County, and I've been a resident here most of my life. I was in Winston on 10th Street. They used to call it 11th Street Bottom. We ran on rocks, played in dirt. Put a little basket up in the yard, played basketball.
I was born and raised right here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I've been a resident for about 60 years. Actually right up the street from the Y in Castle Heights. It was a nice neighborhood. You know, we were in a pretty good place.
Shortly moved in the 60s to Winston-Salem. We got engaged in December, and he moved to Winston in January of this year, and we got married in March 21st. The rest is history.
I was born at 720 Greenwood Avenue. And now McDonald's takes the place where I used to live.
I was born in Winston-Salem. I grew up around 1st and Fogle Street. That's no longer there now, but that's where I grew up. And I went to Columbia Heights Elementary School.
I was born in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I lived on Maple Street. That's between 4th and 5th. 52, the Highway 52 runs right in my old backyard. It was a very busy neighborhood, and everybody loved everybody, and everybody raised you. And we would walk uptown to Liberty Street, to Chris's and Woolworths. It was just like going to the store. You just walked in, it was only about 10 minutes away. So we go 3 and 4 times a day. And they always would tell us to stay out of the streets because you had Kansas City Cab Company, Harris Cab Company coming through Maple Street. And so it was a very busy place.
During that time, going into town, there was a block for us.
Yeah.
You know, Star Shoe Shop was down there. You know, then you had the Lincoln and Lafayette Theater where we
Converse to show.
The Lincoln and Lafayette Theater where we went to watch movies, and then they had all of our little stores there, and then of course Cress's and Woolworths. Those were the places where we shopped.
Right there on Liberty, after that part of Liberty, that was it.
That was it.
And the Carolina Theater, we go to the movie. Carolina Theater, we had to go up to the back steps, up the back, to go to the movies. So it was rough.
Because they came and told us that Highway 52 was coming through, right through our backyards. And we didn't believe them because we didn't know what an interstate or a highway was, you know. And we said, you know, my grandfather kept saying, we're going to have to move. We're going to have to move. And he said, I think I'll just build us a house and we'll just move in. And that broke up the neighborhood because different people moved at different parts of town.
That's another thing that I miss too. And we could pick cherries off trees and apples and pear. I mean, it was just so plentiful everywhere. You could just walk down the street and just pick an apple or a pear or go and get enough blackberries to make 2 or 3 blackberry cobblers. And that's how we used to do it. We'd go out and pick blackberries and pick our cherries to make cherry pies.
Fall out the cherry trees.
Yeah, I broke my arm doing that.
So when the tomatoes came in, everybody got some. You know, squash, the cucumbers, you know, you name it, and everybody got some of it. So once those vegetables came home, you know, well then it was a known fact that you was gonna eat vegetables. And so of course in our house, my mom would cook a meat, and she'd have a starch, and then she did vegetables.
Always going to school, we ate together. But Mom and Dad, they would eat early in the morning, and but she would make sure that we ate all together. It wasn't like a restaurant. You come in and get at a certain time. Once you said the food is ready, you get to the table and you eat. And we always said our blessing at the table also. But Sundays was a special time. We always ate together. All of us ate together on Sundays and weekends also.
My mother taught us how green. You better eat them greens, boy. If you don't, they're gonna clean you out. If you don't, I'll give you that castor oil. That castor oil, when I was growing up, ain't like the castor oil today. So you gonna eat them greens. And a lot of my sister and brother like squash. I used to like squash. I said, I had to clump it down because she be right there watching you. And if you don't eat this food now, you're gonna be hungry.
They were on the table, and you ate them. Of course, you know, like I said, my mom said that, you know, now if you don't eat your vegetables, you're not gonna get in dessert, and you're not gonna get up from the table until you finish eating.
I don't like oatmeal because my dad made my mama for supper to cook a big pot of oatmeal. And he said that either you eat the oatmeal, if you throw it out, you'll get 2 more bowls. We put milk in it, we put fruit in it, and I still don't like oatmeal today.
And then you got 40 coming through, 52 broke up a lot of that. And then they tore down a lot of parts of East Winston where those stores were. And that destroyed everything.
I think when the highways started coming
Yeah.
in, it's just when everything started to.
And then all the businesses. I mean, there were so many black businesses. I mean, thriving, good businesses. They had grocery stores on every corner almost. And these people would have, they have cookies and fresh vegetables, all kinds of beans, canned goods, a few meats. And you would either have a tab and you paid it at the end of the month. And if you didn't have any money, they let you have it and write it down. They would call them like mom and pop stores.
As we were growing up, actually Winston-Salem was very segregated. So, you know, there were certain areas where we were that, you know, we would have a little, you know, Lofton's grocery at the top of 25th and Manchester. And then we had an A&P on Main Street, which was kind of on the south side, but that's really where a lot of the African Americans would shop groceries. Okay, then, you know, like I said, you could, in Columbia Terrace, we had a little grocery store right there in Columbia Terrace, and it was, you know, you could get the you know, the bare stuff, you know, eggs, you could get milk, and for us, you know, we could get candy, cookies, and things like that. But for the most part, through the segregated time, you know, it was A&P, and that's where everybody went to get their to do their shopping.
Yes.
Go to Ronnie's. I go to Ronnie's.
I go to Ronnie's now.
Every week.
And most of the neighborhood stores was just like Ronnie's, you know, the little stores. If
Yeah.
you see Ronnie's, and maybe on a smaller scale, or some, my dad's store was on a smaller than Ronnie's, but it was on the same scale. So when you see Ronnie's, you see the neighborhood stores.
Yeah, that's the way it was. Well, like he has food sitting out, that's the way it was at the city market. And that's the way it was at your neighborhood stores. And you just pick out what you want and go in the store and pay for it.
Because it was like on the honor system, everything was out there, you know, and you just get what you want. They trust you to come in and pay for what you
That's
got.
right. We had vegetables, and we had corner grocery stores, like she said. We had corner grocery stores, and people would come by on trucks, farmers, and they would stop and we'd buy fresh greens. But yes, we used to go down to farmers market and watch the people with their goods, and they would sell and barter. And then we'd go to Big Bear, and W.D. White had a big seafood market in Big Bear. It was really interesting because so many people would be there, and it was like New York inside of a building.
My first memory of the restaurant was when I got married, and we went to Dan restaurant, and we sit down and ate. It was like vegetables, chicken. It was all right.
In that time, there was segregated. You could go to the one end and get something to eat, but we were the restaurant that was segregated. You were not allowed to go there and sit at the table like you do today and eat. So we didn't eat out at all.
We didn't eat out, but my father worked for the railroad, and we did a lot of traveling, and so we had been exposed to eating in restaurants, but we didn't have restaurants right in our community. You know, it was not like fancy restaurants like you have now, just tables and then the place back where they cooked, and then they served you out front.
We had K&W, which was the only restaurant that we knew about, and that was right there at the bus station. And black people couldn't eat there. They could work there, but they couldn't eat there.
That's why I don't go to restaurants today, Holly. My friends get mad at me because I won't go. When I came up, K&W was the biggest thing around, and we couldn't eat there, so I never really cared for a restaurant. So I go, but I don't care for them because I didn't come up that way. I know how I was treated. I got tired of going through the back door.
We didn't go out. Well, I can remember going out to get my first out of the house meal was a Whopper at the Burger King. And they had one Burger King, and it's down there on Silas Creek, right where it is now. That was the only one they had. And then they had McDonald's around the corner. That's when we went out to eat.
I'm a little older than Clyde. I remember when I first came here in '63 and '64, and I was playing championship football. So my coach said, "I got a surprise for you." He said, "I'm gonna check you and get you a hamburger bigger than your hand." I said, "Man, come on! On the corner, I don't sell those kind of hamburgers. You know, hot dog. You know." That's the first time I ever went to Burger King on South Street. What he was talking about is real.
Takes two hands.
Takes two, and I had never in my life had a ham. You know, my mom made them hamburger. She had put bread, onion, and everything to make the hamburger be big for us could get some. But when I saw that hamburger, I was crazy. I said, "Look how big this hamburger is."
Called
Sister.
no, it was, they had chicken. Huck's chicken.
Huck's.
Let me tell you what Huck's looked like. Huck's was a little hole in the wall restaurant, a little cafe. And in the front, he would fry all of this chicken and have it up in the window, piled up. And you could go past and you say, "Oh, I gotta have some fried chicken." And you go in there, but they wouldn't have that chicken, but they would have fried chicken up in there. And he would keep it warm some kind of way with lights or something. You could go in there at 3 o'clock in the morning and get chicken. Could get fried chicken.
Oh, in the summer, we had fresh vegetables out of the garden, like a cabbage, tomatoes, lettuce, collard greens, just about anything to grow in the garden. Watermelons, of course, cucumbers, and zucchinis, all kinds of things out of the garden that we had during the summer months.
There was a company there where Wake Forest just built this new building on 5th Street. There used to be a produce place there. And when we were little, we would get our wagons and we'd go up there. The night watchman would take the people that ran it would tell the night watchman, "Leave these out for the kids." We would go up and get onions and greens and collards, white potatoes, sweet potatoes, onions, and we'd bring it back to Maple Street, which was just 2 blocks away, really, 2 long blocks, but nevertheless 2 blocks, and we would sell it in the neighborhood. And that was, we'd make our little money to get our wieners for our hot dogs for our cookout. You know, back in the day, we had milkmen would come around and leave your milk. Now you got to go over here and buy milk, and there's so many different kinds of milk, which is good, but I wonder where the real milk is, you know.
Well, it's just always been interesting to me, the heritage and the the family traits that we had around here. We're in Tobaccoville. My grandfather raised produce and took it to Winston all parts of Winston, poor sections mainly.
And I was told too that he had probably over 500 customers, all in East Winston and in the African American community. And he would sometimes, one time your mother told me that he went into a house, he'd go in these houses at 3 a.m, people weren't even up yet, and he'd leave their butter and their eggs and whatever they'd ordered, they'd put in an order. And she remembered one time that he took live chickens and put them in the bathtub. And the people weren't up yet, but they would get up and there would be all their stuff, and that was that. Or he'd go up and down the streets and people would come out that knew he was coming on Saturday at sort of what time. And
he would blow the horn. I can remember.
He
always loved to blow his horn. When he would come to see, he would blow the horn, and that's what he did in Winston. He would come down the street, blow the horn a couple times. Everybody knew who it was. I can even remember as late as the 1980s when I went to work for the city of Winston-Salem. I would ask people that I ran across down there if it was an older black gentleman or anybody. I'd say, were you born and raised in Winston? They would say, yeah. I said, do you remember an elderly guy with the last name of Butner that would sell produce? Oh, Mr. Butner. Yeah, and it was very interesting to, people would remember them from when they were, remember him from when they were children. So it was,
that must have been a great feeling.
Yeah, it was. I've always been interested in how that worked. It's such a, there's a grocery store on every corner now, so not many people peddle anymore.
That's right, that's right.
We would buy stuff like that and bell peppers from a truck that would come by on Saturdays. And so a farmer's truck would come by on Saturdays and we would get our bell peppers or our onions. But as far as our greens and our little corn or whatever, vegetables, we had a garden in the back of our house that we mostly grew. And we ate from there. And our own chickens, we would clean them, kill them, clean them, pluck them, fry them, and cook, whatever. And that was, I mostly miss that.
I see one every once in a while that comes over on Martin Luther King. Yeah. And they come over there and they have stuff, and, it's potatoes and what have you.
I got a route I've been running for 42 years, same old route every week.
How many stocks do you have?
Well, I'd say about 40 on Friday and about 60 on Saturday.
Things I miss that our neighborhood would do if somebody was sick or if somebody had death in the family, the whole neighborhood would come. They would clean your house. You didn't have to cook for a week. Somebody would cook your meal and bring you and your family a whole meal every day. And we've lost that tradition, which is something we used to do. In the neighborhood.
Personally, I miss the closeness that the communities used to have. Everybody moved away. I miss the businesses that the blacks used to have. It's so hard to get in business now, to start your own business, and we got a few like the Sife Seafood, and of course all the funeral homes, they're still going, the Russell Funeral Homes and the Browns Funeral Home. I miss the stores and the self-sufficiency that the black community had. They bought from each other, they sold to each other, and they relied on each other, and we don't have that anymore. It's all scattered out. And I miss the foods, because the food back then was so much better and tastes so much better.